Welcome to How to Pass the Living Environment Regents at biovideotutor.com. My name is Guy Houtman, and I'll be introducing myself in a little bit more formally in just a few minutes. But first, just to make sure you are in the right place, number one, this is your first, fifth, or 10th time taking the Living Environment Regents, and you may not graduate if you fail again. This person on Twitter said, "My senior year is going to be stressful because I have to worry about passing the Algebra and Living Environment Regent." Number two, all you want to get is a 65 so that you can move on with your life. Like this person said, they failed their living environment regents. Wait, the good part is I failed it with a 64, a 60 blanking 4. Well, hopefully we could turn those frowns upside down. And number three, you'll want to more than just pass, like score 80 or higher. I'm going to show you how that's possible in just a few minutes. But first, I also have another person here. They passed the living environment region with a 74. They might retake it for a higher grade. But here's what I really wanted to tell you was a story about a girl named Sheila who emailed me the day before the August 2014 living environment region saying, "Please help me to pass this test. I'm taking this test for the 10th time. I need to graduate." Okay, so after a little bit of back and forth with Sheila, her name was, I got her signed up with 50 ways to pass the living environment regents, and I didn't hear back from her. So I emailed her the next day after the test, asking her what she thought of the test. She writes back to me with the following email saying that she passed with a 74. A 74! Guys, this girl failed 9 times. She was taking it the day before she reached out to me, watched my videos, and the next day not just got a 65, but she passed with a 74. It's unbelievable, okay? Unbelievable, okay? So if you stay until the end, you will learn how to answer the easiest and most commonly asked concepts on the living environment regents, and that's even if you didn't learn a single thing in your class. Number two, you will learn how to handle the short answer questions, sometimes without ever reading the reading passage. And number three, you'll learn how to get a guaranteed 65 plus on the living environment regents, even if you fail the exam one or more times before. Okay, now first, here I am. This is what I used to look like when I had hair. But after 15 years of teaching, you tend to lose a little bit of it, all right? But I am a New York State licensed teacher. I've taught in both public and private schools. As a high school student, I went to Staten Island Tech. In fact, here's a picture of me in my uniform for my cross-country team, and despite those short shorts, that's a proud moment because I helped my team win the New York City cross-country championship at Van Cortlandt Park. Okay, I then went on to graduate from SUNY Binghamton, and I currently work at a New York City public high school. All right, and what I did was I went through 6 Living Environment Regents exams to find the easiest and most commonly asked concepts and put that together into 50 ways to pass the Living Environment Regents. All right, and you should have got that study guide when you signed up, and it shows you how you could have gotten an 81 on the January 2014 Living Environment Regents. And even if you think that might be a long time ago, I'm going to show you why the concepts still apply today. Okay, but first I showed this to a colleague of mine, and he said that this is probably the best thing I've seen in my 20 plus years of teaching living environment, which is also called Regents Biology. So no matter which test you're taking, whether it's in June, August, or January, it really doesn't matter. The things I'm going to show you and teach you work on every single exam. Okay, so here's how it works. On the January 2017 Living Environment Regents, if you wanted to get a 65, you need to answer 40 questions correctly. That's 40 points, gets you to a 65. In June 2017, a 65, you needed 41 questions or 41 points, a little bit higher. August 2017, same thing, 41 points gets you to a 65, okay? So my official promise to you on this video series, or this video here, is I, Guy Houtman, will show you how to get at least 41 points on the living environment regents so that you can pass with a minimum grade of a 65. All right, so here's basically what I did. I went through the January 2017 Living Environment Regents. There's 85 questions. I wrote down the topics and the ways that correspond to those questions. And in the end, 62 out of the 85 questions covered, which means you would have passed with at least an 82. In the June 2017 Living Environment Regents, again, 85 questions, 64 were covered by 50 ways to pass the Living Environment Regents, which means you could have passed with at least an 83. On the August 2017 Living Environment Regents, 68 out of the 85 questions were covered, which means you could have passed with at least an 86. That's 21 points higher than passing, which means even if you don't get those questions right, and even there are some questions that aren't covered that you might know, you still have a cushion there, and that's why you're able to pass with more than just a 65. Okay, so that's the reason why I get tweets and emails like this, where someone failed with a 61, and thanks to the 50 ways to pass the Living Environment Regents, they went up with a 72. A student emailed me after the June 2016 Regents. I can't believe I passed the Regents with a 68 after failing it 6 times. Thank you so much. I even cried, couldn't believe it. So just in case you think you failed multiple times or you don't have enough time, you are mistaken. Okay, so let's get started here. In the June 2017 Living Environment Regents, there was a question, a multiple choice, that had to do with the malaria vaccine. Now, when you see the word vaccine, it most likely has to do with way number 20. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the video for way number 20, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to answer the question correctly and quickly and confidently. Okay? So let's go to way number 20 on how to pass the Living Environment Regents. Way number 20 on how to pass the Living Environment Regents. A lot of students tend to think that a vaccine contains a little bit of the disease or a small amount of the virus. But when asked to describe what a vaccine is on 3 different living environment exams, the answer key specifically said not to accept these as answers. So, what should you write instead? How about a dead or weakened pathogen that stimulates an immune response? Especially since that was pretty much the number one answer listed in those same answer keys. So make sure to specify the words dead or weakened pathogen in your answer when describing what a vaccine is. Okay, so that was way number 20 on how to pass the Living Environment Regents. So what you're going to look for when you see the word vaccine is a weakened form of the disease or the pathogen, a dead or weakened pathogen, and in this case it's choice 3 here. Okay, that was a multiple choice question for 1 point. On the January 2017 Living Environment Regents, they had a short answer question that also deals with vaccine, and they wanted to know why the contents of the vaccine usually do not cause people to get sick. Well, that's because it's a dead or weakened form of that pathogen. And as long as you write something along those lines, like a weakened pathogen, you get 1 point. Notice they say do not accept a little bit of disease or a small amount of the virus. So that's 1 point for a multiple choice, 1 point for a short answer on 2 different exams, okay? And then, by the way, they had a reading passage, a small one. You did not even need to read that to get that 1 point for the short answer, all right? Now, a little throwback, August 2015, 2 short answer questions dealing with way number 20. Identify the component of a vaccine that makes it effective. Again, just write that it has a weakened or dead pathogen in it, and you get that 1 point credit. Do not write those things, you will lose the point. And in 62, describe how a vaccination prevents disease in the individual who receives the vaccination. Well, it stimulates an immune response. So as long as you write something along those lines, you get 1 point. It activates the immune system or stimulates the production of antibodies. Those are both acceptable answers there. All right. And then that shows you how you get 2 points for short answer questions just from one video. And it had a reading passage that you didn't even need to read to answer those questions correctly. So my tip for you is this. Read the question first, see if you could answer it correctly, and if not, go back to the reading passage. There might be some information there to help you out. Okay, so here, January 2014, vaccine, you already know what the answer is. Is it a large amount of a live virus? No, it's going to be a dead or weakened form of the pathogen, and just to make sure, right, it's going to be choice 2. Okay, how you feeling right now? You like this? Knowledge, confidence, and even here, June 2015, question number 27. When getting a vaccination, which substance is injected into the body? Well, for sure it's going to be a weakened form of a virus. It's the same repetition over and over and over again. And I'm still not done. All right. A student emailed me. I watched one of your videos on YouTube. There was a question about what vaccine means in your video. And on 2016, it had the question you said. So it was great. I know it was reliable. And the question they were talking about on June 2016 was this one. A dead or weakened pathogen used to establish immunity would most likely be found in a vaccine. You get it? You get the point? And I'm still not done. August 2014, again, short answer question, question number 61 right there. Identify the substance in a vaccine that stimulates the immune system. So by now, you should know to write down a dead or weakened pathogen. And do not write a little bit of disease or a small amount of the virus. Okay? How's that for beating a dead horse? All right, moving on to the next concept. When you see complex sugars, simple sugars, catalyst, okay, and they want to process, they are most likely referring to way number 6. So just like before, I'm going to show you the video for way number 6, and we're going to come back here and show you how to confidently, quickly, and correctly answer this question. Way number 6 on how to pass the living environment regions: nutrients and their building blocks. The food we eat usually comes in the form of proteins, starches, or fats. The problem, though, is that these molecules are too big to go straight into our bloodstream or cells. Therefore, they need to be digested into their building blocks so that they are able to diffuse or pass through into our cells. For proteins, the building blocks are called amino acids, simple sugars or glucose for starches, and fatty acids for fats. So, do you think you could answer this question correctly? Hopefully, you said glucose, since the other 3 choices are too big. Here is a similar question worded a little bit differently, but just remember that starches must be digested into simple sugars before it can enter a cell. Are you ready to apply your knowledge even further? Even though we never mentioned anything about water, you should know that protein, starches, and fats are too big to diffuse directly into a cell. And raise your hand if you think short answer questions are too difficult to answer. State one possible reason a certain substance cannot pass across a cell membrane. Now put your hand back down if you think you have the right answer to this question. Congratulations. Okay, so that was way number 6 on how to pass the living environment regents. And since we're dealing with a complex sugar, breaking down into simple sugars, all right, this process is known as, we're going to go with digestion. You see right here in the arrow, right, when these things get digested into their building blocks. All right, that's what they were looking for here. And this word here, catalyst, that's another word for an enzyme. The enzyme helps break down things, it helps form things. So be on the lookout for that as well. All right, that was January 2017 multiple choice. And there was a second multiple choice on the same exam, which said if a starch digesting enzyme were added to sports gel that lists starch as an ingredient, which substance would increase in concentration? They're basically asking the same exact question here, but instead of complex sugar, they said starch. And instead of simple sugar, the answer will be glucose, okay? So when the starch breaks down, right, with the help of enzymes or catalysts, it's going to produce more simple sugars or more glucose. So that's 2 points just from the information found in way number 6 from one video. Okay, in the June 2017 Living Environment Regents, protein, starch, and DNA are similar in that they are all, notice the word all, we know proteins are made of amino acids, starches are made of simple sugars, and DNA is probably parts of gene, right? Well, they all need to fit the bill here, so we're going to go with organic compounds. All an organic compound is something that contains carbon, which they all do, which is why it's the answer. So sometimes when they ask a question like this, they want a general, not a specific answer. On the August 2017 Living Environment Regents, question 3. Organisms contain compounds such as proteins, starches, and fats. So here they're talking about these. The chemical bonds in these compounds can be a source of, yes, for the protein, yes, for the starch, but it can't be one or two because they're talking about all 3 in general. All right, enzymes help break them down, but it's not a source of enzymes. But think about it. What's the whole point of eating? Why do we eat? It's so that we could get energy. Okay, the whole point of this is to get energy. So that's a multiple choice question. On the same test, there was a short answer question, and they wanted you to identify the end products of protein digestion that make up the contents of test 2B. What are they talking about, test 2B? Well, oh, guess what? There was a reading passage that went with this question, but you didn't even need to read that passage because you know that proteins get digested into amino acids, which is exactly what the answer key has. Okay? And then 63, related to the same reading passage that you still don't need to read. It says in the digestive system, many large molecules such as proteins, starches, and fats are broken down into much smaller molecules. What happens to these smaller molecules following digestion? Well, remember, they get digested into their building blocks so that they are able to diffuse or pass through into the cells and the bloodstream. Okay, so as long as you write something along those lines, you would get that 1 point of credit for a short answer question. They diffuse into the body cells of the bloodstream, they get absorbed into the blood. All right, and I'm still not done. There was another short answer question on the same same test. Explain why glucose molecules can cross the cell membrane and starch molecules cannot. And the reason for that is because glucose is small and starch is too big. Okay, so look at that. Starch is too large to move across, glucose is smaller, or you can just write starch is bigger, or you can write glucose is smaller. Anything along those lines would get you that 1 point. And this just goes to show you how you get 4 points from one video. Okay, I'm still not done here. August 2015, look at this repetition. The basic building blocks of protein are, here it is, amino acids. Same test, another multiple choice question. You see the word starch? Well, this time the starch is at the end. So they're forming starch instead of breaking the starch down. So instead of going this way, they're now going this way. So the bonding of simple sugars to form a starch molecule. Okay, remember amino acids goes with protein, not with starch. And a little bonus here. Any idea what that X might represent? Like what's going to help bond or what's going to help break down? And if you said enzyme, all right, you'd be correct. Now that wasn't part of that concept here, but I'm throwing it in as a bonus. But still, you could have got 2 points from just the way number 6. All right. Now, an email I got from Amia. I mean to tell you that I took my Living Environment Regents in June, and I just want to say thank you for showing me what to look for and how to eliminate answers. Typically, I get low grades on that class and even failed it sometimes, but on my region, I received an 86, and I couldn't be happier. This girl went from failing to an 86 on the Regents. That's crazy. Your videos are amazing. So, please let me know. I want you to stop this video right now. If this guy is going to help you pass the Living Environment Regents, let me know. Share that. Take a screenshot of this. Take a picture of it. Share it on Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media platform you're on, and tag me at BioVideoTutor or put hashtag BioVideoTutor. That will let me know that you got some value from this. I really appreciate that. And then once you're done with that, let's continue because I'm going to be dropping some more value bombs right now. Okay, moving on to January 2017, question 43. They mentioned 3 letters, ATP, which deals with way number 11. So what I'm going to do, just like last time, is I'm going to show you the video for way number 11, and I'll show you how to answer this question correctly. Way number 11 on how to pass the Living Environment Regents. The letters ATP refer to the molecule that releases energy for life processes. It is produced from sugar in the mitochondria of cells. So if we take a look at these 2 questions from 2 different Regents exams, if you see the words energy released or energy used, you'll now know that the energy is stored in or comes directly from ATP. In another question, the word carbohydrates is used as a fancy way of saying sugar. When sugar enters the mitochondrion, energy from that sugar gets stored in a special type of molecule, in this case labeled X, but we all know what X is, right? That energy can then be used to carry out different cell activities or life processes. Do you think you can answer a short answer question related to this concept? Considering all they are looking for is a chemical substance produced by the mitochondrion that is represented by arrow A, all you have to write are the 3 letters ATP. Okay, that was way number 11 on how to pass the Living Environment Regents. So when you see the words ATP, they're talking about, and they want to know the structure, that's going to be the mitochondria. Now, A is the cell membrane, in case you didn't know, B is the nucleus, C is the mitochondria, and D is like a vacuole for storing like food or something like that. Okay, so that was 1 point on the January 2017 Living Environment Regents. On the same test, they had a short answer question. State one reason why muscle tissues are likely to be affected by mitochondrial diseases. Well, you know you need big muscles to get a lot of energy, and as long as you write something that the mitochondria supplies muscles with energy or ATP, you get 1 point. Anything along those lines would be correct. Muscles have a high energy requirement would work too. Okay, so that's 2 points from one video on the January 2017 Living Environment Regents. June 2017 had here they have ATP, okay, and they want to know which row in the chart below correctly identifies the structure where ATP is produced. So then you had to look at this picture here. You know it's the mitochondria, and you should recognize letter B, which is row 2. The production of ATP would occur less efficiently. Well, that's because this rotenone is an insecticide, which is toxic to humans as well. All right, that's 1 point on that test, but they also had a short answer question on the same test. Question 51 asked, identify one specific molecule used to store the energy being released during this process. Well, what process, you ask? Well, there was a little picture or a diagram to go with this, but even if you didn't look at that, you should know that the molecule used to store energy being released is ATP. By the way, ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. ADP is a relative of it, adenosine diphosphate. But you don't need to know that. Just know ATP when they talk about energy, okay, in way number 11. Again, 2 points from one video. And we're going to go on to the August 2017 Living Environment Regents, which had a multiple choice question. Which compound that directly provides energy in living cells is being produced in every tube where cellular respiration is occurring? Well, here's a picture that goes along with that, but they talk about directly providing energy. You got to go with ATP. You got to go with ATP, okay? And that's it for August 2017, but I want to do a throwback again. August 2015. Take a look at this. We got 3 short answer questions. They want you to identify the type of protein molecules used to digest food. Don't get thrown off. They're not asking about the end products of protein digestion, which would be an amino acid. They're asking about what helped digest it. So remember the word enzymes? It's 1 point. Not a way number. Well, it actually is a way number, just not listed here. But take a look at 53. Identify the organelle where energy from nutrients is released. All right, so the organelle again is the mitochondria. You don't have to write an essay. One word does it, gets you that 1 point. And one inference that can be made concerning a cell that has many of these organelles. Well, remember before we saw a similar question, they probably need something to do with energy, right? It requires a lot of energy. So let's take a look at the answer key. The answer key has enzymes, or if you really want to get fancy, you could say biological catalyst. And for 53, mitochondrion. Well, mitochondrion is one, mitochondria is more than one. That's the way to write plural for that. And for 54, the cell uses a great amount of energy or requires a lot of energy. Anything along those lines, you get those points. All right. Still, that's 2 points from one video on the August 2015 exam. And I'm not even done. Take a look at this. This is like a double bonus here, okay? January 2014. Imagine if you took this test, all right, and you saw this. Okay, question 56. The molecules that are used to digest the starch, not what the starch digests into, but what helps digest it, you know it's going to be enzymes. Question 57. The molecules produced when the starch is digested. That's what they want. That's where you write simple sugar or glucose. 58. Why starch must be digested before its building block molecules can enter the bloodstream. Don't forget, it's because it's too big. Remember, fat, starch, or protein, they're too big. They need to be digested into their building blocks so they could diffuse into the blood. 59. The structure in the cell that will produce ATP. Remember, that's the mitochondria. The mitochondria. And why is ATP important? Because it provides energy for the cells. Guys, that's like 5 points on one test from 2 different videos right there. All right, and it had a reading passage. You didn't even need to read the reading passage to get those 5 points. Unbelievable. All right, so now we'll take a look at this. 3 tests, January 2017, June, and August, once again, and you could get 2 or 3 points just from one video. That's going to be the next one, and that is typically right around question 44 and 45, and sometimes even 46, and that is way number 4. Way number 4. So just like before, I'm going to show you the video for way number 4, and I'll come back and show you how you got those multiple points from one video. Way number 4 on how to pass the living environment regents. When making a graph, you want to make sure to use an equal interval when making your scale. Making the scale for the hours on the x-axis isn't so bad since the numbers are already in order. The scale for the y-axis, on the other hand, is where students tend to mess up. They mess up by putting the numbers straight from the data table without realizing that the space between 85 and 87 should not be the same amount of space between 90 and 110. The proper way to do it is to use an equal interval that encompasses all of the numbers from the data table, ensuring that the amount of space between two numbers is consistent throughout the entire scale. Additionally, since the lowest number from the data table is 85, a lot of students will just start their scale with 80, which you can do. You just need to do it without any breaks. Now that both axes are scaled properly, we'll begin plotting the data for individual A as well as individual B, making sure to surround each point with a circle for individual A and a triangle for individual B, as instructed by the key. Beginning with individual A, plotting the data would look like this: 0 and 135, 1 and 175, 2 and 200, 3 and 185, 4 and 165, 5 and 150, followed by connecting the points. After plotting all of the data points for individual B, your graph should ultimately look like this. After comparing our graph to the graph in the answer key, being able to do this on the Living Environment Regents can get you a few easy points for questions 44, 45, and 46. So no matter which kind of graph you are asked to draw, there are 2 things that are pretty much certain. Expect a graph question around numbers 44 and 45, and make sure the scales of your x and y axes are of an equal interval so you can plot your points correctly. All right, so that was way number 4 on how to pass the Living Environment Regents, and as you can see here on the January 2017 Regents, all right, questions 44 and 45, that's 2 points. Notice they have an equal interval on the y and they have an equal interval on the x, okay? And as long as you plot it correctly, you get those 2 points. June 2017, same thing, 44, 45, 46, that's 3 points. Equal interval over here, plotted correctly. August 2017, questions 44 and 45, 2 points. Notice we're going up by 20, 20s, 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 and 5s, 5s, 5s. So that's what it means by an equal interval. And we're not going to stop there. 3 points from one video on August 2015. Make note of the question numbers. January 2015, 2 points, 44 and 45. 44 through 46 is 3 points. Equal interval, x and y axis. June 2015. January 2016, 2 points, 44 and 45. 44 through 46, June 2016, 3 points. Guys, it's a repetition over and over and over and over again. Okay? Again, August 2016. So far, I've shown you on the January 2017, the June 2017, and the August 2017 Living Environment Regents. All right, I covered 4 different concepts and it showed you how to get 7 points from 3 or 4 of those videos. Right? That means you would need 34 more points to pass with a 65. Remember, 41 gets you 65. But guys, we still have 46 videos left to get through. 46 videos left to get through. But I value your time. So you have 2 choices. Choice number 1, you can go into the exam with what I've shown you today in the hopes that you pass. or you can watch the entire 50 Ways to Pass the Living Environment Regents video series in your own place, at your own pace, and get a guaranteed 65 plus. And yes, the word guaranteed is in capital letters because that's how confident I am in this program here. In fact, I'm going to underline about 15 times. That's right, 15 times. And here's why. Because in the last 15 exams, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 15 exams, and even beyond, there were at least 52 out of the 85 questions covered, which means you could have passed with more than just a 65. Okay, that's the reason why Sheila was able to pass after the 10th time taking this with a 74. So again, if you think you failed too many times and don't have enough time, you are mistaken, right? I keep getting tweets and emails, 61 to 72. Salimatu emailed me, I passed the Regents with a 73 after 5 tries. Thank you for helping me. Shtara, 70. I'm so happy. Your video really helped me. Thank you so much. Lubica, my first try, I got a 62. After I discovered your videos, I took it again at 72. That's a 10-point increase, guys. And it keeps going. I get every single day, I get emails. Melanie scored a 77. Thank you so much. I can now graduate from high school. All right. Natalie passed with a 77 also. Thank you so much. I got the program the day before the exam, stayed up to midnight, woke up the next day. Thank you so much. So, guys, don't use time as I don't have enough time. Saba, I took the Living Environment Regents in June, watched your videos the day before and the day of, passed with a 91. Your videos helped a lot. Alondra, I know it's late, but I just recently got my Living Environment score. I passed with a 76. Thank you so much. Your videos really did help me, and I hope they help many more people. So now it's your turn. But before I tell you more about 50 ways to pass the Living Environment Regents, I have to tell you what it's not. You're not going to sit in a classroom or a lecture hall for 7 hours in a day. You don't need to kill a weekend or a day, during the week. You're also not going to pay a very expensive fee for a course that's not even refundable if you fail. You see, with 50 ways to pass the Living Environment Regents, you could get through the entire course in 90 minutes. 90 minutes to get through the whole course. Not a day, not 3 days, not 5 weeks, 90 minutes. And you have unlimited access for 330 days from when you start. 330 days, about 11 months. So if you really needed to go for, like, let's say January, June, and all, you'll be able to access it for all those regions. But hopefully you don't need to, because for a one-time fee of $79, which is a fraction of the cost of a crash course, it's almost half the cost, right? One-time fee, access for 330 days in 90 minutes, and the best part, it comes with a 100% money back guarantee. No tutor or crash course is going to give you their money back if you fail, but I will. That's how confident I am in this program, okay? And here's how it works. If after watching 50 ways to pass the Living Environment Regents in its entirety, you end up failing the Living Environment Regents, simply email me your failing grade along with your certificate of completion, which you get once you finish watching all the videos, and I'll gladly refund 100% of your purchase price. Just need to do that within 30 days of the Regents. Okay, so you need to ask yourself, if all this video series did was get you a 65 on the Living Environment Regents, would it be worth it? If it allowed you to be done with this exam so that you can focus on your other subjects, would it be worth it? And if all this video series did was let you walk across the stage of your graduation, would that be worth it? If you answered yes to any one of those questions, then you need to click the Buy It Now button located below this video and get started today, immediately. Okay. Now, here's what I'm going to do, because I want to see results from people. So to help you out even further, I have a limited time bonus. Number one, it's optional, but I have video fill-in notes. That means you could watch the videos, pause them, watch them over and over again, and fill in the blanks to help you remember the information. Now, I normally sell that for $9.97, but it's yours for free when you click the Buy It Now button, but it's a limited time bonus, so it may be available depending on when you're watching this. It may not be available. So hopefully you got in on this early, and I'm not going to stop there. I believe in you, and I want to see results, so I'm going to throw in another bonus here, which is the cheat sheet for 50 ways to pass the Living Environment Regents. It's a 4-page PDF, which has every way number, topic, concept, and the explanation, just like you saw the videos earlier in the session here. Okay, normally this goes for $10. It's yours for free when you click the buy it now button, but again, limited time bonus, so it may or may not be available anymore by the time you watch this, depending on when you watch this video. And I'm not even going to stop there. I'm going to throw in one more bonus, again, limited bonus. I'm going to take that how to pass the Living Environment Regents from the August 2017. Okay. Normally this goes for $15, but it's going to be yours for free. And basically, here's a sneak peek of what's inside. It has the way number, the explanation, just like from the cheat sheet, but I went even a further step. I put the question and the answer, and you got the explanation right there. And I did that for all the questions that were covered by 50 Ways to Pass the Living Environment Regents. I want to say it was like 68 altogether or whatever it was. Okay. And that's yours for free too, depending on when you watch this, if it's still available. But the only way to do that is to click the buy it now button. Okay, and that's it. That's basically the end of this video here. I wish you, either way, I wish you the best of luck, but I do hope to see you on the other side. So that's it, and have a great day. Good luck.